chat because we always got to have chat Q&A. Any questions, anything you want to talk about real quick, we'll give you 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. 56K warning says Amico gave Pat the best content he could have with Fake Tommy. Yeah, Fake Tommy is pretty good. I would love to have him. If Fake Tommy is listening to this, I would love to have you on. Maybe do an interview with you in character, obviously.
That is a good bit.
Let's see, yeah, the developers with the Xbox controller, I think it was Couch in the Woods. I haven't heard anything from them in a while.
What's that with the Xbox controllers?
Yeah, the ones that did the what the hell is it called? Something Striker, Neon Striker.
Oh, okay. The yeah.
Remember they did a video showing off the game, and they said they didn't have Amigo controllers, that they were using the Xbox controllers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're the one where you're scoring goals and it plays kind of like a Rocket League type.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember that became its own thing too, because Pat and Ian, of course, made a video on it. They were saying, hey, these guys don't even have controllers.
Right.
What the hell's going on? How could you not have controllers for your devs?
Well, it just seems to be a common trend here.
Yeah, Neon Strikers was in a few videos. I know there's a TikTok. If you are on TikTok, there's a Intellivision tour, like what it's like to work at a game studio or some weird wording that they go around. One of the programmers, she goes around, talks to people, shows some footage of them playing Neon Strikers and stuff.
Now, to their credit, I mean, that game does look fun. It looks fun, but as you guys, you're raising the question, where are the Amico controllers being played with it? I mean, isn't that, if I'm going to see the game run, obviously I know most games are created, on a computer, but and they obviously that's an easy way to hook up, a Microsoft controller to your computer, but still, you're showing it off. I think you should show the Amico controllers in action. But it really is vindication for this whole time of saying, hey, look, these controllers, there's something up with these controllers. We don't personally know what it is, but just something doesn't smell right.
Yeah, we know that Nick Richards said there were some bugs in the programming at one point. That's why the gyroscope wasn't responding correctly. So we did confirm that. Obviously, if the Neon Striker devs were using Xbox controllers, then it's got to beg the question, how much are the actual Amico controllers going to add to the gameplay?
Right, and what unique feature does the touchscreen bring to the table? Yeah, it's a good question.
And how much fine tuning and optimization can you do without the Amico controllers? I mean,
right.
Obviously, you could only go so far with the Xbox controllers. Then they basically had to stop development and say, well, we've done everything we can. Now we need the actual Amico controller, guys. And it's going to be a weird thing. It's the same thing with the 3 demo units that they keep showing off. I forgot to ask Nick Richards, but I did mention on Reddit that I forgot to ask him. I was going to ask what was inside the demo units, because I wouldn't put it past them to have better components inside the demo units to make a better experience versus what's going to be in the retail version. Samuda says, for the longest time, the delay issues all seemed like they had no idea what interrupts are when developing hardware. Yeah, I don't quite understand that comment. Maybe rewrite it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's talking about.
There are, Amico Day Channel says there are about 200 Amico pre-production units now. I don't know where he's getting this number from. I know he's insistent that this whole thing is a big psyops and that they're going to have a full launch and we're all going to look like idiots.
I don't see that. I mean, if they did, why aren't people saying, hey, look, I mean, you don't see anything. And granted, they could be signing NDAs and whatnot, but I would think at this point, like the Playdate, you have guys like if you go look up Playdate, they already got guys running Doom on Playdate. You pull out the minigun, use the crank, boom. That's cool. So I would expect if some of these guys got this into their hand that they would be able to work on their games, but also kind of tinker with and see what the hardware's about. And we just don't see that going on right now.
Yeah, so Amico Day says a batch of 80, a batch of nearly 100, and then the other pre-production units, so 200 is just about accurate, except from between the time that we had the Texas event and the time that we had the Pennsylvania event, we still only had 3 demo units. You would think that if they had handmade nearly 200 units, they would at least kept a couple more for demo purposes. I don't think they had 200 developers.
Right, and we see these in every video, right? The Ferrari red is the one that's always in the playroom at the headquarters, isn't it?
Yeah, and that also begs the question: Are those? Because I know in the video, the TikTok video, they show at least 3 different Amicos throughout the building. My question is: are those actually the demo units? Is he packing those up and taking them to demo? Do they actually have more units that they just don't bring around?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I know this is kind of like off, and I don't know if you guys talked about this a couple weeks ago, but after watching last time I was on, I didn't watch the Crayola event. Is it just me, or did anybody else feel like the All Access crew was kind of helping at the Crayola event? Is that just me?
No,
Like
they were helping. They
they were like,
100%.
yeah.
They admitted that they were helping. They were passing out flyers to get people to come to the Crayola event. They were helping move tables, set things up.
I mean,
Helping.
we that goes a little bit past of being a fan and being kind of I know they I don't think they've ever claimed that they've not been unbiased about it, but it definitely seems like they've gone the extra mile to make this successful, just for a few guys that are some very small YouTubers.
Well, I'll tell you this, Gary. It was so bad that one of the individuals said that he was approached in the bathroom by someone that was there, and they were asking him questions about, well, how long have you guys been developing the Amico and blah, blah, blah. Because someone at the Crayola event that had no idea who any of these people were under the impression that this individual was working for Intellivision.
Oh, wow.
So obviously they were, very hands-on, helping, setting things up, helping people with the games and the controller and stuff like that.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that. It's just it goes against what you guys have been, what they've been. They don't want to be called chills. They don't want to be called cultists, which is fine. And I don't like to use those terms, but when you're in Texas, I mean, Cyrus is in Texas, right? I mean, when you go from Texas to Pennsylvania, yeah, that's a hike, and it begs the question, like, did Tommy pay for that trip? I don't want to call anybody shills, but that's like I said, that was a 4-6 hour event. That's a lot of time to take out of your schedule. Even if you're not working, I'm sure you have other responsibilities to just kind of cut like that. And I know DJC is actually down the street from me. I know he lives in he's in Detroit, I think. So he's like literally 5 minutes away from me. And that's a far drive. I mean, if I could have taken that drive and gone just to go play the system, I mean, at that point, I thought these guys were kind of cut dry down the middle. Like, hey, we're looking at this thing and we like it, but we also criticize it. But then you're helping Tommy say, like, that's another thing that just rubs me the wrong way. That you guys are helping with this event when it's like, hey, look, they got the money. How much money did they raise? They raised an incredible amount of money. And it just seems weird to have a group of small YouTubers helping you with the event. It's just weird to me.
Well, that whole event, there's been so much, I don't want to say controversy, but there's been various stories about what exactly the event was. Some people have said that, as Ninja Kitties is asking. One of the individuals that went with DJC, I guess one of his friends or a friend on YouTube or something, he was like, "We gotta thank Retro Bro. He set it up. He paid for the meal. He paid for this and that and the other thing." And then Retro Bro, we had mentioned that on Discord. He came into the Discord and said, "No, he didn't pay for any of that. What do you guys? You don't know nothing. Tommy paid me," and he was all upset that we implied that he paid for this event or for anything. There was another video from was it the original Next Level Gamers, where this was prior to the Crayola event, where they were like, we got to give it up to Retro Bro. He set everything up. He was acting as a liaison between
that's Mike Mullis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mullis was saying that Retro Bro was basically, because he's from Pennsylvania, he was talking to the Crayola people on behalf of Intellivision and I guess acting as a messenger between the two to set everything up. So I mean, it's basically their own words, and then when you say, "Hey, well, this guy who was there said X," and then they get mad. No, that's not true. Well, don't tell me. I wasn't there. He's saying X. This guy's saying Y. Maybe you guys should all get your story together. Get together, get your story straight, and then go on.
I mean,
YouTube
even if you had the story straight, it still rubs a lot of people. It rubs me the wrong way, and I think it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. They see guys that have been saying, "Hey, look, this thing's going to be awesome. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no lag. There's this, that. Tommy's a great guy. He's my friend." And then you're helping them run an event that they have enough money to do themselves. It's just weird, at least to me.
And here's further. I wanted to mention this during the cornhole talk, but I forgot. So they had asked, they did the Crayola event, and people were asking if they played cornhole. These individuals who were at the Crayola event, make YouTube videos, they came out and said that cornhole was not at the events because it did not fit in with the focus of the event for families and young kids, but that the cornhole did work. And then we know, like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, whatever it is, we find out that cornhole was in fact not working. So I think their credibility at this point is
working,
shot.
but not fun. Okay.
No, because they reworked the cornhole, so that's why it wasn't at the event, not because it wasn't.
Okay, I got what you're saying.
Right. So I mean, if you're basically telling me, hey, the reason that cornhole wasn't at the Crayola event was because
it just
it didn't fit in, or they didn't bring it because they wanted more younger focused games. When the truth is, they didn't bring it because they were reworking the motion controls. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So basically, you are now spreading misinformation. You're spreading the propaganda of Intellivision, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And I think at this point, your credibility is completely shot. You are not unbiased. Yeah. You're super biased. You will just regurgitate whatever Tommy tells you.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with being super biased. I mean, when I go and review the Playdate, I'm gonna make it known that, hey, look, this thing is right up my alley. But, and I think there's a good conversation to have with somebody who is biased, right? I mean, they do give a good perspective, but also as long as like, hey, look, this thing, no matter what they do, is for me. The Amico, I'll buy it regardless. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But when when you were being criticized, and when the criticism was at the time when you should have handled it, you didn't, and you had pushback, you pushed back on that, on that theory, and then later it comes out. It's just it's always a bad look, and I think that's the biggest problem. And like we said before, I don't think they'd be having this kind of backlash if they just were like, you guys are right. We're going a little too strong on this. We are biased towards this. Because you look at these guys' collections, and they probably are close to completing Intellivision. Granted, Intellivision has a small library. These guys have massive Intellivision, Commodore, Atari, their collections. This is their era of gaming that they absolutely love. And I obviously understand that you're going to be biased. That's what you remember as a kid and what you grew up on. But there is a time to understand that I am biased, and maybe I should be listening, at least in the early, about a year and a half ago, that's when the criticism should have been taken seriously, and not after E3 tanked.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think it goes beyond biased or unbiased. I think obviously if you're into video games, you're biased towards a video game. If you're into a
Correct.
certain genre or a certain era of video games, you will be biased towards that. That's expected. They're
Hmm.
older gentlemen. I expect them to be biased towards older games, retro games. The issue is they have entanglements with the company now. They have,
Yeah.
they're appeared in official videos for the company. They've appeared at events for the company helping out. They are self-proclaimed friends of the CEO. I mean, at this point, there's no way anybody could look at their video and say they're being in any way, shape, or form objective towards
Genuine. Right.
the product. And I think another problem is someone like me who will come out and say, "Hey, Sony sent me this game free. Microsoft sent me X, Y, and Z, and this is why I'm playing it and reviewing it and blah blah blah." They won't even go out as far as saying, "Hey, I'm talking about this product, but I'm friends with Tommy," or they sent me, this behind the scenes stuff. I got information because I'm friends with him. I'm playing ball. They basically try to pretend, downplay that stuff, pretend that it's not having any effect, and then they get upset when they get called on it.
Right.
I think that's one of the big issues. And I brought it up to Nick Richards, and he said that he understood, but that I was being a little nitpicky. And I guess, I can be nitpicky, but like I said, if I'm just somebody who has no idea who Cyrus Martin is, for example, right? And I
Right.
watch that reaction video to the Texas event, and his brain is turned to Swiss cheese, and he's saying all these good things. I'm thinking he's just some guy that showed up to the event. He's not a paid actor because there's no paid actor thing on the
No
screen, right?
disclaimer. Right.
No
Right.
disclaimer. I don't think he's a friend of the CEO because there's no disclaimer for that. I don't know he has a YouTube channel because there's no disclaimer for that. I don't know that he was invited to the event. As far as I'm aware, this is a public event open to the public, and he is someone from the public that signed a agreement to be filmed and be put on camera. That's it. That's as far as I'm assuming.
Right. And
No
this
one's
is
gonna
go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this is why DJC got so much flack from a lot of people. And Rich, right, is that's why the whole jaw dropping was like, well, wait a minute, nothing here that's like revolutionary, but you're also entangled with Tommy and Intellivision, so and that's why you got flack from a lot of guys. So
Yeah, and I think part of it is, like I had brought up in a previous video, they had a reaction to playing the Amico. At the time, Saggy Melons had not played the Amico, but they used two clips of her voice and two clips of her talking about the Amico and how good it was for families and stuff. And everyone else in the video had played the Amico. So one would just assume, watching the video, that everybody talking had played the Amico and this is their reaction to playing the Amico. Whereas this particular individual at that point in time had not played the Amico, yet they were showing clips of her as if she did. There was no disclaimer. It wasn't just her setting up a question or asking a question to somebody for them to answer. It was actually her making statements about the console. And I think that's very misleading and very, uh, it shows how they're willing to take any shortcut, any angle in order to push the system.
yep, I agree. And even with what testimonials, there were a few fresh faces that we haven't seen, but from the picture, I don't know if it was Ninja Kitty who posted the video with the picture of all of them at the end. And some of those people were in the testimonials. Now, even fooled me because I thought, hey, look, there's a few people that we haven't seen, and these are people that might have went into the Crayola event not knowing what's going on. But at the end of the day, oh no, wait, that was part of someone's family, or this was another part of the family. So it just it raises more questions than it answers with it being genuine. Just being genuine. It's whether or not these people are really into it, or are they part of a group of people that Nick might be a friend and we came down here with him and we're supporting this, and I just don't know. And it's not like products haven't done this, companies haven't done this with products for years, but it's just the way that specifically Intellivision's coming across to people. And I think that's the biggest why why they're getting so much hate and pushback towards the gaming community.
Well, I'll tell you what. The reason that they get so much flack from me on this particular issue is because Tommy's very insistent that he's the most transparent and open CEO. That they're not
Oh,
like
and
other
yep.
companies. They're not like other companies. They're doing things better. You know, they're grassroots. And then you point out, like, wait a minute, this particular individual that you're showing in your video, he's made 71 Amico videos. He's interviewed you twice. His kids are excited to see you when they shows you them on video. You know, it's not exactly the general public that you have in this official Amico video. You know, when I called him out about curating his comment section, I was told that I was being an idiot. I was nitpicking, and of course everybody does it. But I said in my original article, I said it was my belief that he was going to use this as an astroturf to try to make it seem like it had more excitement and more hype than it did. And sure enough, in just about every investor pitch that he's done, he's mentioned the comment section on his YouTube videos and how great they are. So it just shows you that, you know,
the games are not the only thing being highly what was the word?
Well, everything's being controlled to present a picture of the company and a picture of the reaction to the company in a very highly positive light.
Of course. I mean, no company's going to put out, you know, this thing and, you know, a testimonial is going to come out and they're not going to be like, nah, it was cool. And that's the thing. If they could have had somebody that said, hey, this is very awesome, this is cool, but this is probably not going to be for me at the end of the day, you might want to check it out to make your own decision. I think what we get is, no, this thing's awesome. It's going to redefine things. There's nothing like it on the market. And we all know as a group of gamers, that's not true. There's other, you might like it. There's nothing wrong with liking it. And there might be a few unique things about the Amico, but experience wise, if you want to play with your family, there are other options.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm not expecting them to have someone come out on an official video and say that the console's shit.
Right.
You know, but what I'm saying is, like, even in the comment section, people can't criticize. They get shadow banned or their comments deleted.
Right.
And so, but, you know, that's not a big deal. So you say, okay, well, that's no big deal, right? On itself, it's not a big deal. But then when you go to investors and say, hey, look at our YouTube comments, they're so great, everybody loves it.
Right.
Well, you're not telling the investors that you specifically have deleted all the negative comments. You're telling them that people are only leaving good comments. You're misleading the investors to think that there's a bigger hype around the system than there is. And I think that's
right. It's more positive. Right. Right.
And the same thing with the videos when he's like, hey, go check out this Best Buy Canada blog. I'm not going to tell you that the guy who runs it, I've interviewed him and I call him a good friend and we talk on Twitter and he's on a podcast every once in a while that I'm on. You know, I'm not going to tell you that part, but I'm going to pretend like this is an unbiased source. Or this other website that's run by Jay Prime, who's generational gamer on YouTube and does positive Amico videos. And I've given him interviews. I'm not going to tell you that part of it. I'm just going to direct you to his positive coverage and then act like all the negative coverage doesn't exist.
Yep, I agree. And that's been why they've gotten a lot of flack. You're right.
So, I mean, and there are several people that are within the Amico fandom that are claiming to be journalists or ex-journalists, or they want to try to be journalists, and to see them say these things and not see the ethical and journalistic issues with their coverage is very disheartening. And kind of, you know, it hits me on a personal level, being a journalist myself.
Yeah, and I didn't agree with what Mike said, because that's what sticks out when you talk about that. It sticks out that when Mike pointed out, like, hey, look, when he did the when he was at E3 and he was talking about the Phantom, and he's like, hey, look, I checked it out, I put what I thought about it, and that was it. But I think it's not that simplistic. I think, like you said, everybody, like the average consumer is not going to know that Cyrus, as you know, is a small YouTube channel, and that he's, like you said, made a lot of videos about this, and then he's featured in a lot of the stuff. And the average investor is not going to know this stuff because they're, they got their investment, but they got other things going on, and they're most likely probably not gamers. They're investors. They're looking for opportunities to make money. And like you said, it's being disingenuous, and it's not right at the end of the day. And that's why a lot of us are going around kind of preaching the gospel here that, hey, look, all we're saying is this thing, something don't smell right. Take that with a grain of salt. If this thing's for you, that's great, but just be aware that it might not be what it's being presented as today. So when you get it, in October, or if it comes out next year, that it's the roses they don't smell too great.
Yeah, and to go back to what you said about Mullis saying that he was at E3 and he checked out the Phantom console. Well, he actually really exposed himself, in my opinion, when he was talking about that. Because if you know anything about the Phantom console, it was another like Coleco Chameleon situation where it was basically not a real thing. It never came out. There's a lawsuit, I believe it's still ongoing, possibly. But they got sued for the claims they were making and all kind of stuff. He basically said that he went out, he checked out the console, which we know wasn't real. And then he went back and regurgitated the press release from the company. He didn't question anything. He didn't say, hey, I checked it out and it doesn't look real, or the claims they're making don't seem possible, or he didn't give any sort of opinion on it. He just regurgitated what he was told, and he thinks that was good enough. And if someone invested in the company or someone made a pre-order for the console, well, it's not on him. It's, he just said what the company told him.
Right.
And I think that's complete horseshit. If you look at something, whether it's the Atari VCS, the Coleco Chameleon, the Amico, the PS5, the fucking, the Nintendo OLED Switch, if you look at it and hey, this claim they're making doesn't seem possible, or this doesn't smell right, or I don't think that they're going to be able to make the amount that they're claiming, and you don't say something as a journalist, you're fucking useless. Okay, that's your job. Your job is to inform the public and have the consumer and the public's best interest in your mind. Okay, you're not here to be a mouthpiece for the company. You're not here to be a marketing arm of a studio. You're here to inform the public about a product and what your opinion on the product is, so they can make an informed decision as to whether or not to put money into said product.
Right. And I think, and that's the biggest point, and that's why a lot of people complain about the price point. I think if it were $100, people would be willing to throw that $100 away, and they wouldn't think twice about a review, a preview, any of this content that's coming out about it. I think, $100 is disposable. You can make that decision very easy. You're either happy or you're not with the product. But at the end of the day, it's, it's not $250. It's not $300 for the wood grain. It's a lot easier to swallow. And you're right, Mullis has a duty as a journalist to come out and be honest about these things, and it all boils down to integrity.
Yeah, and I don't try to aim any of my comments at any individuals. I try to keep it on the console, but when you come out and you say you're a former journalist, or you are a journalist, or you're looking to be one, and you are acting in such a manner that it's making the whole games journalist industry look bad, that affects me. That reflects bad on myself, because you're only as good as the worst person in your field. I did a whole article on this. When someone like Dean Takahashi plays Cuphead and he can't get past the tutorial, that doesn't just reflect bad on Dean. That reflects bad on all games journalists. We all look like idiots.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, I do take it sort of personal, and I'm not trying to attack anyone on an individual level.
Well, it's the reason why, a lot of people, and I think people have given IGN a little bit more credit recently, but there for a while it was, IGN was just criticized up and down for the way they were reviewing products and handling things. And it's to the point where people know now, and then that's why these channels exist. This is why someone like, you know, Darius exists. It's because of, not just because of e-beggars and all that stuff, but it's the integrity's not there, being dishonest and having someone call you out on it. And if you can't give an honest opinion, then maybe you should find another, you know, even if doing this little bit of journalism is just in your you know, spare time, maybe it's time to find something else, because like you said, it really, it doesn't affect you. It might not affect the company, it might, but the most important thing is it's affecting the consumer. And when the consumer has, you know, choices like Amico, the Steam Deck, Playdate, all these things at their, you know, fingertips, especially with the thousands of games that come out on Steam and you know, Xbox Live, the PlayStation Store, all these places, it's now more important than ever, I think, for people to know what they're getting. Because hey, look, you could spend 250 here, but hey, you got a Switch, you could buy this much content, you could buy, you know, a Switch Lite and maybe a couple Mario Karts, you could, there's so many different things you can do at this day and age. And I think it's the market is really tight, that if you're not, like, I still respect journalists, and I don't base my buys off I like to get at least a couple different sides of it, and maybe they have some information that I don't know about, but I want the information to be honest, truthful, you know, steer me in the right direction, don't mislead me, and then I end up with a product, and then whose fault is it? It's not Mike Mullis's fault that I bought an Amico and it just plays like shit. It's, you know, whose fault is it? And then really, I gotta put it, there's certain people who look at that and take it as gospel. I don't. And there's, you know, I've been around long enough to know, like, hey, look, this is just to see some gameplay, to see maybe another side of it that I might not have looked at it through the same lenses. But, you know, at the end of the day, do your research and make sure you know what you're buying. Because in this, like I said, in this market now, there's just so many options.
Yeah, Ninja Kitty brings up a good point. The fact is that it's 2 months from release, and we have no idea about games, what they look like, how things will work. That is bigger than the expensive price point. Yeah, even in the interview I did with Nick basically said that, you know, there's not any finished games. They're close to being finished. They're almost there, but they're not quite. And I think that's really telling. You know, once again, you know, we were told they were ready to go last year. Last October, yeah, they could have launched if they had the parts, if there was no COVID.
And at this point, they're just polishing games because they have the extra time.
Yeah, and then come to find out that was all a bunch of horseshit, basically. We don't want to turn this into a second Amico segment. So if you guys got any other questions, any suggestions for songs, I will say that I want to have a sort of scripted section on these live streams, something like a 5 to 10 minute scripted thing that we could play. And I'm going to open it up to the fans if they want to send like a little mini video or something we could play on the live stream and we talk about. You know, just hit me up at TonyTGD at thegeekgetaway.com. You know, you can send me a 5-10 minute video, keep it clean. You know, if you want to do a rant, or if you want to do some kind of raving about some new game, or maybe a mini review or something, and we'll put it on the stream, and I'll definitely link to your YouTube channel or whatever. So, you know, I want to open it up. Let the audience create some content for me, because I'm lazy like that, and I'd love to fill 10 minutes with someone else's stuff. Since Gary fully knows everything what he will get with the Playdate, he has no idea what he's getting with the Amico, which is launching earlier.
Nope. And that's why I don't have a deposit down on an Amico. I like, and I've said it before, I like Astro Smash, doesn't bother me. I think Astro Smash looks pretty fun. I could have fun with that. The art doesn't bother me too much. But it really boils down to, I thought Cornhole was going to be one of those games I would be like, yeah, this is going to be fun and everybody will like the play. It's like Wii bowling, you know? And when I see that video and it's just, oh my God, it's like worse than what we thought. You're showing us, well, this doesn't have the art on it. It doesn't, yeah, but I've heard this stuff before, and that doesn't bother me. But what bothers me is that, hey, look, E3 came out, we're like, oh, look, they're playing, they're showing, you got guys back and you saying, hey, look, they're showing cornhole right here, this family. And granted, are they, do you realize this was footage, just different angles of footage we've seen before? And now it comes out that, hey, cornhole's not as good as it was looking. It's just like, more vindication, more I'm right. And I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong so badly on this because I love original Intellivision. I have tons of games for it, man. I just want to see all the retro stuff made. That's me personally. But yeah, I know what I'm getting with the play date. I don't know what I'm getting with the Amico. And at that price point, I saved what, $50 in tax or whatever, and I got myself a play date, and I'm excited. And open SDK, homebrew, I just have a feeling it's going to be good. It's going to be big.
So what I'm hearing is that we're going to get a review of the playdate from Obsessive Compulsive Gamer soon.
Oh, yes, definitely. I will definitely let everybody know as soon as I get that thing. I will probably go in maybe for the first time, actually, because I've always done like skipped around, just playing some Pokemon or doing some what I got in my collection, because I always like to watch collection videos. I think guys are like, yeah, that's cool, and you can give a little, a little brief little minute of how the game plays, what I think about it, and if people have the same taste in gaming as I do, that they might enjoy those things. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll probably review it, and then every week a game, those 2 games come out, I'll sit down for maybe an hour, play, give my thought on it. But I'm really excited. I definitely can't be in the middle on this. I'm definitely biased. I definitely have high hopes for this system. I think they're going to do great. I think they're going to knock it out of the park with this community. And as far as I can see, man, an open SDK is where it's at. People are going to be loading this thing. Now, granted, that's the biggest issue, is that I guess that this only has 4 gigs of internal storage, and we don't know how much of that's going to be eaten up by the operating system, all that stuff. But games are going to be small. It's, we don't know exactly. I think the file size was like 30 megabytes or something like that. They're really small. But we don't know what kind of, like, how much storage we'll have for stuff like, side loading and whatnot. It'll probably fill up fast, but I'm definitely excited. I see more of the playdate lasting a couple years than I do the Amico. And that's the biggest thing with the Amico, is I don't see it lasting more than a year. I think they will support it for about up to there. And then I really don't think Earthworm Jim 4 is going to come out. I really don't. I don't see it. So, and that's sad. Not that Earthworm Jim's a big game to me, but that really could be something to push the Amico. And, haven't seen anything but the concept trailer. So,
yeah. And speaking of Earthworm Jim, I thought it was very telling that Interplay Games has a Twitter account. And then last week, I don't know if you've seen, something called Interplay Entertainment showed up on Twitter. They were teasing an announcement that was supposed to happen, I believe, on Wednesday of this week. And Tommy Tallarico, CEO of Intellivision, who's working closely with members of the Earthworm Jim team, Interplay, who's friends with them, who knows them on a personal level, he retweeted this Interplay Entertainment teasing this announcement. Come to find out that Interplay Entertainment was actually a hoax, a fake created Twitter account.
Oh, wow.
To Interplay. and so it just strikes me as odd that he would not have realized this. Could you?
That is very odd.
If some account came out, right, and was like, it said it was Carl. This is Carl's new account, and said, "Hey, I got a big announcement for Thursday, right?" The first thing I would do is I'd be like, "Hey, Carl, why didn't you tell me you had an announcement coming?" I'd hit him up,
right?
And then he would be like, "No, that's not my account. That's someone's pretending to be me or whatever, right?" So you would think in this same situation that if Tommy saw this, hey, Interplay, let me call them guys up. They didn't, how do I not know about this?
Right, they didn't tell me anything about it.
And even just to be like, hey guys, congratulations, or I can't wait to see what you guys have. But no, he just tweets it out, and he has to find out, like everyone else, that it was phony account. And speaking of Twitter, Tommy also retweeted a hoax account from a gentleman that was pretending to be a convicted child molester.
Oh, okay. So they were playing in on the that whole bit.
Yeah, so apparently this individual had been arrested for keeping his daughter in the basement,
Oh
locked
God.
up, and doing horrible things. So I guess someone took the guy's picture, created a fake account, and was tweeting stuff out. And somehow he stumbled upon the Amico, and he tweeted out, "Can't wait to get the family back together so I can play Amico with the grandkids." And of course, Tommy, being so enthusiastic about retweeting people that are positive about the system, retweeted this guy's account out.
Wow.
So I thought that was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty telling that, just the level of desperation for validation that the company has, that they're just retweeting out anybody without looking into who might be behind the account, not recognizing this person that was on the news. His face was all over the news.
I mean, could you imagine this stuff happening with Nintendo of America?
No.
Xbox, like not at all, not at all. And I understand you're a small company. I get it. I really do. I get it. But I mean, it's just, we're getting down to like common sense things and things you should know better at this point. And like you said, it's validation. To me, it's always seemed like that from the very get-go. When I started seeing Tommy, like from 2 years, I can't even remember how long ago, 3 years, 2 years, whatever. But the first time I seen Tommy, it was popped up on Pat and Ian's video, and it struck me as weird. Never in my life have I seen a CEO of a company personally hitting small YouTube channels. And granted, they're not huge. They are a small channel, but they're a great channel. And it seemed like, wait, you're trying to go after a retro crowd, but then the retro crowd's not who you're going after. So I don't get it. I mean, and then you're telling people, hey, look, you don't need to buy our system. It's just weird. And though they can say they haven't started marketing, but that's, to me, is your marketing. I mean, you're out there as a company saying, hey, we either want you, we don't want you. You're putting out videos of your product. It's marketing to me. I don't care if you spent a cent. It was free. Whoever did it, the intern at the office did it. You're putting information out there, and you got to have that tough hide, because people are cannibals out here, man. They'll rip you apart. So you put your best foot forward and let your product speak for yourself. I've said that since day one, and I just haven't seen it from the Amico. And I really wish that Tommy and Pat, and they could squash this whole thing. I really wish Tommy could say, you know what, up until this point, I've kind of put my foot in my mouth, and I'm sorry to all of those. And anybody I might have disappointed who has had money invested into this, it hasn't been a good look. Maybe I can do better, and nobody's perfect. Pat and Ian aren't perfect, but they have been right. I think they were fair at the beginning. Now I do think Pat's getting on it's a personal level. It's like, yeah, you're going to shit the bed, and I'm going to show everybody now because you turned it into a pissing match. So at that point, I don't feel bad for Tommy, but this definitely could have all been avoided had the message been right from day one, and I don't think it's been right from day one.
Yeah, I don't think that Tommy and Pat are ever going to be friendly. And I'll tell you what, I will give Pat credit for not cutting Tommy out of the video game years. He could have easily edited him out of the re-uploads, but he left them in there. So at least good on you for doing that, Pat. But Tommy did go personal. He did say a lot of things about Ian's medical condition and other things like that.
Well, even when he talked to you, I thought it was just highly just off to be like, hey, look, we can talk about things, but I'll never be your friend. Like, that was like unnecessary. It's kind of unnecessary stuff that's just like, we know that we butt heads, okay? I know I'll probably never be Tommy Tallarico's friend, but at the same time, does it need to be said? Like, does Tommy need the certain things that he should step back and think about and say, hey, should I say this? gives a bad image. Like, all these other people are your friends, and if they're kissing your ass, they're great. But if you got some pushback, I'm not going to be friends with you, because we're not looking for a way to destroy you. I mean, if you stay on camera long enough, you're going to do that to yourself. But we want to be informative. That's all I've ever did. That's the only reason why I put that video out. I felt personally attacked for having an opinion and trying to clarify, hey, look, you need to focus on these things. At least if you're on the, in the retro gaming community and you're looking in the Amico and wanting to spend $250, I'm not going to reach these mommy bloggers and the casuals on the hyper casuals on their phones. I'm not going to reach these people, but I can reach people who do really care about gaming, the community that keeps gaming and probably has kept gaming alive. I'm 30 years in and I've been buying games like I can't even play as many as I buy, within a week. But I think it's that our crowd that has kept things like the Amico possible, the Coleco Chameleon was possible because there was a crowd there for it. The Atari VCS, even though those are not my cup of tea, I think because that crowd existed and we're so passionate about it, that's why you've had the chance to make the Amico a possibility. So,
all right. So, just to flash back a little, so you can see on the screen, I did go to AmicoGames.com. They basically document everything. They're really good for that. And as you can see, this is the tweet from Tommy Tellerico. It says, "Thank you. Looking forward to showing folks what we've been working so hard on for so long. So many talented and passionate people on the Intellivision team, pouring everything they have into something we all love and cherish. We can't wait to share it with the world." Heart. He was quote tweeting this comment from Joe at SellerBeast35. "I can't wait to get the Intellivision Amico and play with my children and grandchildren when we are reunited. Let's relive the good old days. Can't wait to see what else Tommy Tellerico has up his sleeve." And that is the individual there using the picture, Joe at SellerBeast. And this was a picture of Joseph Fritzl, who locked up his daughter for 24 years and did very, very horrible things to her.
oh my God.
And
Yeah, like that's not a good look, is it?
No, it's
especially when you came out Nintendo and claimed all that other stuff. It's so really ironic.
Like, you should stop. You should learn by now. You don't just retweet anybody. It goes to show again how a lot of the people are out of touch with the current internet environment. That he just retweeted someone without even thinking, just because they said something positive about the Amico.
That maybe I should look into this person and see. Yeah, definitely. It's like,
well, I mean, the guy's name was at SellerBeast. At the very least, he should have said, "Wait a minute, this doesn't sound."
I didn't even pick up on it until you just said it again. Oh, that's so bad.
So
it's so bad.
Yeah. Apparently, the account did get reported, and it's off the internet. So.
Oh my God, you can't make this stuff up, can you?
You can't. And thank God for Otto over there at AmicoGames.com. I know he's busy with his dude ranch. So the fact that he takes the time away from his family and his employees to go ahead and run AmicoGames.com, I really appreciate that.
Hey Tony, I can't see how many people are we got in there still with us. Can we get a shout out to who's left in the room still listening to us talk?
We got 6 people still in the room. I think Ninja Kitty, Samuda have an Amico Day channel.
Okay.
56K warning might still be in there. I mean, whether or not there's 10 people, 20, 100 people.
No, that's great. That's great. Anybody who listened to at least me blather all night, that's great. So I at least hope that I got some decent points, things that, are respected and that other people share that same thought. Like, I'm not out to destroy Tommy. I really don't want to. I think he's done enough to himself. I want to see it be successful. And as far as I don't see it, but I really wanted it to be something. I think there's a different approach. I think they would definitely, if you asked them, they would do things differently. But at the end of the day, I really hope that, at least the people we're coming across, I know we have our, our tight knit group of guys that kind of share the same opinions, but I hope at least I've been informed and maybe somebody will come across and at least respect my opinion as I've respected a lot of, guys on the other side. I think, I tried to make amends with Cyrus and said, I've said some some nasty things, and, I feel bad about it, but at the same time, everybody's being attacked, it's just a whirlwind of just confusion, craziness surrounding the Amico, and personally, I don't think it looks good, but I just hope that, at least the guys that are listening enjoy and appreciate at least what you're doing. When I come on, Carl's great to have on every night. I think he's a staple. So
yeah, Carl's a must-have. You got to have Carl on. I'm surprised that he left us today. It was very
quite
weird.
early.
He checked out early. He said he had to eat. I guess he was eating a late dinner. Checked out on us. Yeah. As far as the people on the other side go, I've tried so many times to send out olive branches, to invite people onto this show, to invite people onto the channel.
I'd love to speak with Pete. I really would. I think Pete has not backpedaled, but put on the brakes a bit. And I think he's seen kind of where this was heading after E3. And he said, look, guys, I kind of want to take a step back. And he's been pretty, even though I always talk about Pete and his attitude, which I think is great. It's great to be positive and all that. It's not me. I always see things with a fine scope. I look at it and I pick it apart, and that's just what I do. But I think that benefits some people, and some people like, Saggy, he doesn't really want it. Like, there's people that don't want to hear it, and I know it's hard to hear that, but I think that's a general consensus of what people are thinking. At least my age, guys that might not have grown up with it, even though I did. I enjoy it. I just hope that everybody takes it to heart that we're not just trying to destroy Intellivision Tommy Tallarico, that you have one pre-ordered, and I'm dying to hear what you think about it. And if I had the extra $250 to maybe throw down on it, I might, but there were other options available, and I went down the Playdate route. So
yeah, like I said, I would love to have other people on here. I did have Saggy on here once. I've invited Cyrus a couple of times. He has declined.
Retro. And I died.
Yeah, I was supposed to be on a Retro Bro show with a couple other individuals, but that got canceled after Tommy said that he was getting death threats, and basically I was told that it was partially my fault, that I've fostered a community that has created these horrible people to threaten Tommy Tallarico. Amico Day says that Saggy said in a live stream that she no longer wants people to post links of people who talk about her. That's fair. I mean, personally, when people talk about me, I love to retweet them out and let people know, because the more people talking about me, the better. Get my name out there. Like I said, I'd love to have people on here. I'd love to have conversations. I'd love to discuss things, break them down. The problem is they don't want to have discussions. They don't want to hear an opinion that's different from their own. They want to only hear good things, the positives about the Amico. If you have a question that implies that it might not be exactly what Tommy has promised, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to discuss it. They just want to call you names and say that you're ill-informed. You don't know what you're talking about, because obviously you do not have the insider information they have. You do not have the experience playing it. So your opinion is invalid. And that, I think, that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest reason that those on my side of the fence and those on, say, Pete's side of the fence can't come together and have a discussion, because they don't allow discussion. They don't allow people to say, hey, I don't think that they're going to be able to make X amount of pre-orders, or they're going to be able to make X amount of physical media because of such and such. They don't want to hear it. Tommy has told them what they're going to do, and Tommy has said that this is the route they're taking, and that's the only thing they believe because Tommy's never wrong. And when Tommy is proven to be wrong, they put their fingers in their ears and say, la, 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 la. I don't want to hear it. Now, it seems that I've lost Obsessive Compulsive Gamer. Once again, back to solo streaming. But we are at the 3 hour and 44-minute mark. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it a day. If there's anyone in the chat who has anything left to say it now. Forever hold your peace. As Kermit would say, love, peace, and booty grease. We out this bitch.